Welcome back to another episode of People Believe That.
Huh?
I am Old Mixhead.
It's your boy Chief.
Today's topic is possibly going to be very, very controversial. It's going to piss off a lot of people. Maybe. It might make a lot of people happy. Today's topic is going to be gun control.
Bang.
You're doing the bang thing.
Shots fired. Or not.
All right. Now, the reason I want to talk about this today is because I think there's a big storm a-brewing in this country, and it's should we have guns? Should we be allowed to have guns? Should we go through with this gun ban that the left is talking about, or should we stay true to our constitutional rights, which the gun is shouting out to the top of their lungs?
Right.
What do you think?
Oh, well,
guns or no guns?
Guns or no guns? It's tricky. You obviously don't
knock it off. Guns or no guns?
Guns.
All right.
Guns, but with I don't necessarily know what it's going to take to be able to monitor who gets a gun or who doesn't get a gun, because everybody's a little bit crazy. But I definitely believe that you shouldn't take guns from law-abiding citizens, because criminals are still going to have guns. I see both sides, and that's one of the things I like doing. I like hearing both sides of the argument, and I don't approach it from a emotional standpoint. I approach it from factual information, and both sides have very convincing arguments. Now, you said guns should not be taken away from law-abiding citizens. Well, right.
The argument that the left would make is that all people are law-abiding citizens until they're not. So, let's say a law-abiding citizen one day just snaps and he has, a couple of handguns or, just has a couple weapons or guns, basically.
Right.
And then he just snaps and he goes and takes out like 15 people. Well, that's a case for the left side to say, well, he was a law-abiding citizen and look what he did, or she was a law-abiding citizen, look what she did.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I really don't know how they're going to monitor who's what. And like I said, everybody's a little crazy, but I just strongly don't believe it's a good idea to take them away from people, because I believe the more people that got them, the less victims they're going to be from just getting caught up with not having one.
There's a lot of lives that are saved by just having a gun. Just people knowing that you have a gun is more of a deterrent to being attacked.
Yeah, it's not going to stop people. Some people are still going to take it there. Yeah. But it's a force multiplier. It's a way to defend yourself, your family. I mean, your property too. In Texas, basically the laws are if your property or your family, your life's in danger, you can shoot. Right. Especially at your house. Is that
the castle law or the?
I don't know what it's called, but especially at your house. Like, you come outside and someone's in your car, you can shoot them. I
thought they changed that. Like, if they're on your property and then they start walking away, you can't shoot them.
If they're walking away, like this, I would assume. I would hope it goes case by case. That's what I would hope. But I'm sure they're going to go off of what it looks like. They're going to go off of who's the shooter, who's the perp, what's the situation, and how it looks.
Should there be a blanket, or should it?
I believe every case should be case by case. I don't think any single case is the same. I don't think any two cases are the same. Possibly unless it's the same person doing the same exact thing to the same.
Now, overseas, I think it's somewhere in Europe, they have where if you commit a crime and a gun is involved, that's 5 years just attached
Mandatory.
Immediately.
Mandatory.
Right? So even if you go into a gas station and you have a gun on you and you never pull it out, but you violently assault somebody, you punch somebody, because you have the gun on you, that's an additional 5 years to whatever sentence you get for the aggravated assault.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so...
But I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to hold people accountable. So, hey, you don't have to have a gun, but if you do have a gun, you're going to respect the law. You're going to respect that we have it,
I think if I think that the fact that they're adding all these mandatory minimals just for having a weapon on you, I think that's pushing the agenda of you not having a weapon. And if they did that here, that would cause a lot of problems.
What do you mean, like the stricter gun laws?
No, I mean, it's going to cause a lot of problem with the people versus the government, because it's already people versus the government on a whole lot of issues.
What do you mean? You mean if they take the guns?
Yeah, if they start imposing things like, if you have a gun, we're going to punish you if you do something.
Right. Well, that's what I guess the right. I guess I don't know which side is which. Like, to me, they're both the same. They just it's like if you look into a mirror, it looks, you know what I'm saying? Like, you raise your right hand, they raise their left hand. It's all the same to me. So left, right, whatever. It's the same bird. Left wing, right wing, same bird. That's how I feel. But
it's the belief systems that they work under in a political sense. Right. What we can do.
I mean, I get the breakdown. You know, one side appeals to a certain type of people, the other side appeals to the other side of people. That's how we keep us divided by, you know, having someone to go for.
Are you Democrat or Republican?
Neither. At all.
All right, me either.
Not even close.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, and that's what they did. And, you know, they bring this argument up a lot. That's how they disarmed all the people in Germany. And that's how Hitler was able to, you know, run amok and do what he did.
They couldn't fight back.
You know, and me personally, like, I was in the military. I was in the Army. We did armed patrols through different villages and different sides of South Baghdad and such. And the motto or the campaign slogan was winning the hearts and minds of the people. So in order to win the hearts and minds, we had to go out there, shake hands, kiss babies, bring water filters, chocolate, you know, just meet the locals and try to help them with whatever it is that they needed to be successful in that village or that community. We did all these things, but we had guns on us while we did it and grenades. Like, so we are here to help, but at the same time, if someone brings the funk, we got to do that too.
Yeah.
So all over the world, and we're going to get some Chiefs Moral Compass t-shirts for sale, but all over the world, it doesn't matter where you are or who you are. Like, what it boils down to is, like, the person who has the weapon, regardless of if it's a gun, a knife, or a pencil with the eraser taken out, like, it all has to do with that individual person. Now, there's really no way that a government or a you know, police system or whatever is going to be able to monitor and, you know, judge who deserves a gun or whose moral compass is right or not.
Right.
So they base it off of, you know, all the stuff you fill out on that form. Are you a legal alien? Have you ever denounced America? Are you a felon? Are you in the military? Are you AWOL? Have you ever been dishonorably discharged? What's your name, address, social? So they take all this information down to see if you fit a certain, you know, group of criteria.
Right.
And if you do, you get it. Like, me personally, I can't buy a gun from a store because I have back child support.
Right.
And because I have back child support, they won't sell me a gun. I don't see how they correlate.
Well, it's like is it a criminal thing? Like, technically it's because, I mean,
it's a thing, but it's not like I should be able to defend my house because I owe my ex-wife money.
Yeah, you're not on the up and up. You're not square with the house.
Right. They're like, you can't pay child support, but you want a gun. Well, how do you think I'm gonna pay child support? Just joking.
I mean, you know, okay. So
what I'm saying is, but even in Texas, I can still get a hold of a gun, and it still be legal for me.
That's what I was about to ask you.
And it's still legal for me to have it. I just can't buy one legally.
Yeah, so
from a store.
If for your birthday somebody just says, "Hey, happy birthday! Here's a
gun,
Colt, whatever," you know, you can still own it.
Right.
And I was about to ask you that. Do you think that if tomorrow we watch on the news a new buyback, or a new ban on all guns, semi-automatics, automatics, everything, how do you think? First off, do you think it would be, in terms of this country and the history and the Constitution and all this stuff, do you think that would be better Or do you think it'd be worse? Do you think it would be in our best interest? Do you think it'd be against our interest? What do you think about it?
I think that if they did a ban like that, the government the next day would go out and buy thousands of metal detectors because people would be burying their guns in their backyard. And you can ban guns if you want to, and let's just pretend that they were able to gather every single weapon or every single gun.
Right.
You're not going to stop people from poking each other.
Yeah.
You can't stop people from choking each other. Like, if the government was to do that, it's not to save the people, it's to save themselves.
Yeah. It's not a case of let's take the guns away because guns are killing people. It's
like on Demolition Man. They took weapons away to make it easier for them to handle the people. Like,
Demolition Man, that was a false,
right, but I'm saying
best case scenario future.
Right, but in their future, there were no weapons. There's no weapons.
That's right. They had those little sticks.
They had the little stun gun joints or whatever, Halo, whatever things.
Yeah, I think if I don't like the idea that is being pushed that if guns are allowed to be bought by your average law-abiding citizen, right? Legally, if we take all guns away, the criminals are not going to be able to kill people.
Right.
That is the most unfundamental.
There's no way you can manage that.
Yeah, a gun is not gun. Anybody can buy a gun if they know the right people or they talk to whoever. Anybody can get their hands on a gun, legal or not.
Right.
Cocaine is illegal in this country.
On Facebook, you can join a page in your local area, like the San Antonio gun club or gun owners, whatever, and people will go on there and say, "Hey, I got this pistol for $300."
Yeah,
and you just say, "Hey, I want it." Okay, and then they inbox each other, have a meeting place. You go there, and some people will have you sign a piece of paper saying that they sold you the gun, so now it's no longer their property.
Yeah.
So, like, you can buy a gun from somebody and have them sign a little receipt thing, giving you the ownership of it. But it doesn't have to be registered or anything. It's just for your own peace of mind. Just in case something happens and they come and ask you about, well, you had this gun. Yeah. So, yeah, but I sold it to this person and here's the paperwork.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that people honestly think that just because one person takes out 25 people with a, say, AR-15 or M16 or, semi-automatic rifle, right, or automatic rifle, for whatever the case is. I find it hard to believe that people would think that if we ban all guns from everybody, we'll be a safer place. Look at Chicago. Look at California. Look at Detroit. All these places that have this high mortality rate of, or not mortality, but high death rate of gun violence. Mm. They have the most strict gun laws.
Right. I mean, and that's a lot of people are saying. They're like, hey, there can't be shootings at schools. Guns aren't allowed there.
You can't run that red light. It's red.
Yeah, like you can't run the stop sign. It clearly says you have to stop. Like,
yeah, but how did you get hit by a car? Well, the light was red, and I had the go ahead, good time to walk now sign with the hand. With the stick. The stick man was walking, so I don't know why he hit me. The light was red.
I don't get it. I honestly believe that the type of people that. And hear me on this, because this is going to come off weird, but and mind you, I take into account that some people don't like guns because of personal reasons. Some people don't like guns because somebody they know was a victim of some kind of a violent crime or something with a gun, or they just overall scared of how loud it is, or whatever the case may be. They're scared of guns, but I believe that some people have no idea like what's really coming. Like, and I'm not going to get super biblical, I'm going to keep it light, but the truth is like something's going to happen. Like something's going to happen, and you're going to want to be able to protect yourself at least from other people. Like, when if the government decides to, if there's like martial law or something like that, you're going to want to be able to protect yourself. You can be a doomsday prepper. You can have 30 cases of water in your garage with beans and all that. But if you don't have a gun, like what Bill Burr said, all you're doing is you're just carrying all the, you're just stocking this stuff for the biggest guy on the block.
Yeah.
Because like, and I hate to say it, but I've ran the apocalypse scenario through my head lots of times.
Right.
I'm going to try to find people that want to link up, and then I'm going to try to find stuff that I need.
Right.
And if the stuff that I need isn't with someone that wants to link up, then I have their stuff now.
Their stuff becomes my stuff.
Yeah, like, and that's just, and there's obviously, you know, I'm playing it out from not actually have gone through that, but I would imagine if I'm in my house and someone comes into my house and they have guns and they want stuff, like one of my kids or something, one of my daughters, what I'm gonna do? Right. Hey, guns aren't allowed in here.
Yeah.
Outside, buddy.
Take you and your...
What do I do? I'm gonna grab
your
my fork.
red state firearm outside.
Yeah. What am I do? I'm gonna grab my fork. I'm gonna grab a fork out the kitchen or a knife or something.
Yeah, I think one thing having a weapon does is it evens the playing field for all people involved. If you come to it's like when they say don't bring a stick to a gunfight or don't bring a knife to it, or you know what I mean?
Right. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Yeah,
don't bring a knife to a gunfight. If you show if somebody comes busting in your house at 2:00 in the morning, and all you have is your voice and say, "Hey, you know, get out of here,"
yeah,
and you hear that, well, you know, at that point they're going to take whatever they want, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, so
just pray.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, now I'm going to go on the left side of this, which is the liberals and things like that. Mm-hmm. I do find it troubling that. Not necessarily that just anybody can buy a gun. I don't see a problem with anybody because it's a right. Like I said, I believe that the Second Amendment, things like that. I believe that everybody has a fundamental right in this country to own a firearm. Now, with that comes great responsibility. Obviously, you know, great power comes great responsibility because a weapon is a discipline. It's, you know, it's to be respected. You can't expect to buy something as powerful and life-taking as a gun could be if in the wrong hands.
I was just saying that to my boy yesterday. I put my fingers up and put like maybe half an inch between my index and thumb.
Yeah.
And I said, this is how much space is behind the trigger. This is how much space it takes to like change the universe.
Right.
This much space, like, and people that get guns and they take the classes and they go through the training and all that, they all, you know, that's good. Like, and you said in this country, as far as people should have a fundamental right in this country, I believe people everywhere should have a fundamental right to be able to protect themselves and their family.
Right.
But the issue is, you know, beyond the spiritual side of it, of whether or not people are spiritually capable of making those type of decisions, or spiritually capable of being able to hold a force multiplier such as a firearm or, you know, something like that. But you can watch videos in other countries where they're not allowed to have guns and they out there with machetes going hard.
Yeah.
You ever seen a group of Asians run up inside of someone's house with a bunch of swords and I'm not being,
in Japan, man.
Yeah, I'm not being funny. Like,
I saw Yakuza out there all the time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not being funny and like being, oh, the Asians got swords. No, I'm saying like they really for real will run up on you with machetes, swords, and axes.
Yeah,
like it's not
people like I was telling you a while ago. I said I never turn my back on the human condition, and by human condition, I mean people are by nature destructive creatures. Look at human history. Right. Look at human history. We kill more people than anything else on the planet, right?
People.
Yeah, people. People kill more people than anything else on the planet. That's just in our nature. I'm not justifying. I'm not saying that, yeah, well, you know, we kill people, get over it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you can't ever think that there's an answer to that problem. Right. Taking away guns is not going to stop people from killing people.
We're not so advanced as a species to where we won't use a rock to kill you.
We're using bare hands.
That's what I'm saying. We're not like so advanced. We're not like floating and flying and like using telepathy to speak to each other. We're not so advanced. Yes, you can get on your phone, order McDonald's at 3 a.m, and they'll bring it to your house. Like, but that does not mean as a species we're that advanced to where, you know, we're beyond like guns. Like, we're still primitive. Like, there's still like you said, the human condition, and humans are flawed, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, humans are flawed, and the part of the problem in America is that with the way that the climate is, like how they not the actual temperature, but just the political, the gender bending, you know, the gender blending, not bending, but blending, you know, all that stuff, the race, you know, feminism, just all the stuff, all these distractions that they put in our face has caused such a violent. We're like a heartburn. Our whole nation is just big heartburn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's not enough to really just cause you to go to the hospital, but it's mad annoying. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me. With that, it bothers me that so many. What the hell? A little mosquito. Yeah, old Mixhead had that look in his eye.
It just kept. I knew at some point it was going to fly over here, and I just couldn't have that.
Yeah, he saw mosquitoes.
Human condition. I can't help it. I just destroyed a small mosquito.
Yeah,
it wasn't a mosquito.
With his hand, he didn't even have to use a gun or anything. He just.
Well, I used a shoe.
Yeah,
and those aren't illegal.
Those aren't illegal yet. So lace them up, fellas. Ladies,
buy while you can.
Yeah,
the new J's is coming out.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I believe that. We can't put a cap on this and say, guns kill people at an alarming rate. And if we just stop the production of guns and then we take away all the guns from the people, then we'll be safe. Well, think about it. Who is legally mandated to have guns? The military.
Military, police, certain government officials.
Right. So basically the government. The government can have all the weapons they want.
Right. And they do.
And they do, right? Now, if you take away the guns from the people, what's to stop the government from sending out the troops to put us into what's it you just said
martial
law and patrolling the streets and now taking over the police and things like that. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, that would happen because we'd be a peaceful." Right. Utopia of culture, you know, that would never happen.
It wouldn't be as violent.
Like, so take this into account. The people that killed the mass amounts, the Florida shootings, the Sutherland Springs shootings, all these massive gun fatalities by a gunman, right? Take away the gun. You still have the person and you still have the mental illness or the hatred or the rage that fueled it.
Right, and the capability. You still have that. They just have to look at other means of accomplishing whatever it is that they did. Like the people who mow people down in their cars.
Exactly. We don't talk about those.
Right.
We just talk about the guns because that's the hot topic on Channel 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I want to talk about the Sutherland Springs things because I realized something recently. I was watching Steven Crowder doing one of his I'm a whatever, prove me wrong or change my mind.
Right.
You can see him on YouTube. And he did a I'm pro gun, change my mind. And he brought up the guy, I think his name was something, it was Mr. Williford or something. I forgot his first name. He was the man who shot the shooter. He was a NRA instructor, right? He was certified gun carrying NRA instructor. NRA is under a lot of fire right now. No pun intended.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang on that one. And because of what happened in Florida a couple weeks ago. But the man who shot down the shooter in Sutherland Springs, Texas, I think this was November. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in November. He was in the NRA and he was a legal gun carrier. He had a concealed handgun license. I believe he did. I'm sure he did. But nobody wanted to interview him. CNN didn't want to. I mean, this is 26 people killed in a church.
And he saved the day.
Well, okay, to be completely full disclosure was the guy had already shot up the church and left.
Right, but he wouldn't found the dude.
Well, yeah, the guy was there, chased him down, and as I think he got out of his vehicle or something, the guy was then able to shoot him and bring him down. So I don't want to make this sound like the gunman was actively shooting on people, and then this hero came out of nowhere.
But he was fleeing. He was trying to...
He was trying to get away and possibly kill more people. Who knows? Nobody knows,
no
right?
one knows.
The fact is that the news completely stayed away from this guy.
You mean like the main news sources, right?
Yeah.
Because you're right, because I have heard some stories, but they weren't from any like major... news companies.
This Florida shooting, as horrible as it was, and as bad as it was, and as bad as I feel for the people that were involved, and the kids that were at the school at the time, and the ones who were affected by it, it's a horrible thing. But if you pay attention to what's going on the TV, and this is for everybody listening, if you pay attention to everything going on the TV, you'll see that the news sources are aligning to one direction.
Right.
And it's not necessarily because they believe that's what they want to do. They know that that's popular. That's the hot ticket. That's the trending thing at the moment. Gun control. The news station doesn't care what eventually happens. They just want to be the first to report it. They want your eyes to watch their station, their show, in order for them to get the ratings, which equals out overall to more money. So I don't think the media actually cares about what's going on. Now, getting back to the fact that somebody who had a legal capability of carrying a weapon shot and killed the person that had previously killed 26 people in a church on a Sunday morning got very little to no press coverage. It got a lot. There were a lot of vans there. There was a lot of reporters out there. It was hot topic for a week.
But it got looked over. Yeah,
it was hot topic for a week. They found out that the guy was killed by somebody else, and then they said, well, we reported it. Let's move on to something else. Now we got Florida. And the gun law or the gun ban topic is all over the place. Right.
But see, I don't necessarily believe that the news is going off of popular. I mean, they obviously do on certain issues, certain things that are popular and trending and all that stuff. That's what they were supposed to do. They're supposed to talk about stuff that's new. But I firmly, strongly, and 100% believe that the news sources, that's the one thing that Donald Trump isn't lying about, fake news.
Yeah.
Like, I believe
absolutely.
If you look at, people see, and this is where, like, as soon as you start talking like this, they go, oh, you're doing the conspiracy theory stuff. But, like, no one's actually tried to, like, look up the facts. Like, The fact is that most of these news stations are all under the same umbrella, under the same corporations.
Yeah, there's like three TV.
Right. It's like if I funded all three or all 11 of my kids to do their own news stations, right? But I script every single one of them. Right. Like, have you ever seen one of those clips on YouTube where every news station has the same type of little, and today in Virginia, that's how the cookie crumbles when, and then like they show someone, yes, and then today in Virginia, I guess that's how the cookie crumbles when you come time to.
Right. Jon Stewart used to do that a lot on the Daily Show.
Exactly.
They push the same
and they push the same wording, the same news stories on every single channel. It
was a viable asset to accomplish that. Well, we got to remember it's a viable asset that we're trying to look at.
A viable asset as we look into this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how with that being said, and them they're basically just puppets, man. And when it comes time for
people got to eat
gun control, the news is a good way to get a glimpse into what the government has coming for you next.
You know what?
And it's meant to like keep you like in a state of fear.
Yeah.
Like you watch the news. Like I will not let the news play while my kids are asleep. Like sometimes, like I have a cable. I'm not gonna say their name because I'm not getting paid. Yeah. So my cable company, you turn it on and it's the news, right? So if I don't want my kids going to sleep listening to that because it's mad, like depressing. Yeah, like 20 shot over here.
Killer bees from Africa. Could you be poisoning your children? Find out tonight at 9:00.
Right. You know.
Wait, what?
And then and then some of these
in the morning.
Some of these stations it's just a constant loop.
Yeah.
And it's the same person, and they're not saying and they're saying, and the person isn't necessarily saying. They're not showing the same video of that person. They say the same script throughout the day, like the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Yeah. You know, and then. When it comes to this gun control thing, like they're going to try to make it harder for people to have guns. You're never going to get rid of the guns. But here's the thing too. I don't believe you can beat the government with your guns. We don't have any type of weapons out here in the streets. They're going to be able to beat the government if they decided to roll up. So until they get to that part, but until they get to the martial law and all that, they're not going to do that until the economy crashes. But, you know, and that's right around the corner. But that's another show. But there's no gun that we can have anyway that's going to beat them. Right. All they're concerned with is just taking down the casualties, you know.
Well, in terms of a gunfight, yeah, but I mean, there are other ways of beating the government. There's, you know, I mean, there's strength. I mean, think of the military in general, right?
Right. Listen, I'm telling you, there's nothing we can do as civilians that's going to beat the government. All we can hope to do is just beat the people that are trying to get over while they're trying to take over, like the thieves and the little the scavengers and stuff like that. There's nothing we can do. You ain't beating a helicopter. You know what I'm saying? Right. One helicopter can take over San Antonio. You know why? You know why I say that?
Why?
Because they don't have to be in the city to do it. They can be way down the way.
Oh, you're talking about okay. I'm thinking like this.
I'm talking about thermal imaging. I'm talking about you know, distance. They can have scouts, all this stuff that they have, bro. I've seen what they have, and that's not even the good stuff.
Well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? I've seen the stuff. I've seen the stuff they sent to Iraq. Imagine stuff they're going to send. You know what I'm saying, that they have here. They're already trying to arm the police stations like they're going to Iraq. They got Humvees. They got. MRAPs, the same stuff we used in Iraq and Afghanistan, like bomb-proof stuff. We don't have bombs, bro. And even if we did, like, we're not beating the government, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got a homeboy who lives in Chicago, right? We're Illinois, so around that area.
God bless him.
He got kids, and he's holding on. He's holding on. He's kind of losing his mind a little bit, but he got a basement, and he makes bullets, and he makes AR-15s. And he does it all legal.
He 3D prints them, or he actually like has.
He buys parts, and then he has the presses and the drills, and he just drills out certain parts. It comes with like a thing. You just drill here, you drill here.
Yeah, I feel
you turn it over, you drill here, you drill here. And now you have an AR-15, right? So he's building all these. He has like a whole bunch of them, right? Legally, like you can legally do it, and they don't have serial numbers and none of that stuff. But you have to do it a certain way,
okay?
Right? So he's doing it all legally. In his mind, he's prepping for worst case scenarios, right? So here's the thing. Yeah. So if you're one dude and you have 300 guns, how many of those can you shoot at one time when you're fighting the government? You can't shoot but one at a time. Okay, two.
You can double wield.
You can Rambo.
You can dual wield.
Yeah, you could dual wield do a Rambo type situation. Yeah. But the point is,
Caesar on top of a horse.
Yeah. So when people make this argument about why they have so many guns, who cares?
Yeah.
What do you care for? Why do you care if someone has 500 guns? Why does that bother you? Like, the people who collect guns are not the people shooting people and throwing the guns away.
Yeah, just real quick, I guarantee any mother, father, brother, sister out there, if you had a family member or a loved one, a really close friend at, like, let's say a mall, right? And there's a mass shooting, and your loved one is in line to be killed next. And then out of nowhere, a law-abiding citizen with a gun attached to their hip shows up, shoots that person dead, and now your loved one is alive because of it. Tell me right now you would not, like, just grovel at their feet and say, thank you so much for saving my daughter, my son, my brother, sister.
Police have guns.
And then push the whole ban all guns argument. Right?
Right.
I mean, but nobody talks about that. That's not covered on the news.
Right.
There are more lives saved in defensive gun kill rates than lives lost by a huge number. Go on CDC website, and they have statistics saying that, and I got this from Steven Crowder as well. If you take mortality or you take fatalities deal with weapons that were lives lost because of somebody killing a lot of people, per year, I think it's like 12 to 16,000. Lives saved by using weapons range from 500,000 to 3 million. Lives saved. Right, you take out one person who means to do harm to a lot of people. Right, 500,000 to 3 million. Now, I'm not saying that the 12,000 to 16,000 is insignificant. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Well, who cares about the 12,000 then? Because that's still 12,000 human lives. Right. I'm not saying it's not important, but if you look at the margin or if you look at the difference of which side is going where. Yes, people kill people. We've already established that. But if our weapons, the same things people are trying to take away, if our guns are preventing lives from being taken more by a huge margin, a lot more, if we're saving more lives with guns than guns are taking lives, I don't see the debate.
Guns are here. Like, you're not going to get rid of it. Like auto-tune. Like, before auto-tune, there was still music, you know what I'm saying? Now, after auto-tune, it's just another tool is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And now that it's here, we have to deal with it. It's not going anywhere. They're going to get, smaller. They're going to get more compact. They're going to get more dangerous. They're going to get more easily accessible. They're going to get more easily concealable. But it's like that with any weapon. You can do that with any tool. There's a credit card. You can. It's like a credit card looking thing. You can open it a certain way and it's a knife, or you can open it a certain way and it's a pliers. So it's like a Swiss Army credit card type situation. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, as with any tool, it's a tool. Now the problem is whether or not a person, what they're going to do once they have it. I believe. Okay, let me get into this. What are your at my church, I help with this. I help do the not security, but like the safety teams, right? And part of that is, I'm going to get a concealed handgun license, and possibly will carry at some church events. What are your thoughts when they start talking about arming teachers, arming staff in churches, arming people at HEB, just people, period. Just places where it's public, and one person with a gun can cause a lot of damage because it's a confined space.
I would say I would be a hypocrite if I said I don't believe teachers should be armed, because I firmly stand behind my thought that everybody has the right to bear arms, right? However, I'm not changing my stance. I'm just trying to explain my stance on that. I completely understand how having weapons around our children in a place like school could be extremely troublesome. And I think we were just talking about a teacher that just did a shooting.
Yeah, my oldest daughter was telling a story about a teacher, and I think she said Georgia or somebody somewhere. A teacher barricaded themselves in a room full of students with a gun. I don't know how. I haven't heard anything on it. I mean, I'm obviously going to look it up.
Yeah. If and this is a crappy thing to say, and it's really kind of off-putting and it's scary in a way, but things are going to happen whether we want them to or not. No matter where we go in life, no matter what we think, where we're at, horrible things are going to happen to good people. And that's non-discriminatory. That's old people, young people, and children. Florida happened. Those were a lot of young people, a lot of teenagers and kids. Sutherland Springs, it was a mix of everything. The old people, the little infants, men, women, children, everything. So I can't be hypocritical about my stance and saying I believe everybody has a right to be armed. But if you're a school and you have a teacher who has a weapon on them, either, I mean, good or bad could come from that, and there's no telling. Like I said, people snap. People have good days, people have bad days, and if you put a weapon on them, the bad days could escalate into a much worse day for everybody. In order to pretend that we can determine who is viable to have a weapon, I think is absolutely ridiculous, and it's fruitless. That'll be a fruitless conquest or a quest to make. I don't feel like just because you're a teacher, and just because there's school shootings, and just because of something, an event took place to now we have to arm these people in that position. I believe that's just a knee-jerk reaction. I don't think guns should be in school, but I completely understand why they would want guns to be in school.
I believe that if you can train an 18-year-old to carry a weapon and maintain self-discipline and all that type of stuff like that, go to a war zone, fight and kill people, and then bring them back home, and then
let them loose into the world and say good luck.
And let them into society. I think you can train teachers to carry weapons. Am I saying they should go do 10 hours this weekend and then come to school Monday? Go sit down, get their, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there has to be a lot of stuff in place for it. I think there has to be there has to be some sort of ethics or moral, and that's where it's going to get tricky, because you have to basically judge the person. But like, what really is going to stand off is, okay, one, are they a good teacher, or do they do their teaching? Are they dependable?
Right.
Is a school that can depend on this person? And then two, the training. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't just be. It should be that should be what they do during the summer. The school year's almost up. Just spend the whole summer training every weekend, or couple times a week, and then like a day on the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, train them on accuracy, on evasive, how to, just everything when it comes to like going through the doors and watching, looking, being attentive or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Putting better communication inside of the classrooms, whether it be the walkie-talkies or the comm systems, to where they have better cameras in each hallway so they can identify. You know what I'm saying? There's stuff that they can do on a security level that would not interfere with everyday, day-to-day stuff.
Right.
Did you know that when I was in high school, I carried a gun on me?
No.
For like maybe a year.
When was it? What school was it? Well, wait, grade.
He said, don't say the school. Don't say the school.
Grade. So I'll know which school by saying the grade.
Like 10th.
Okay.
10th and 11th. Even when all the times I was getting jumped and getting fights, I kept it on me. But see, I had a different type of mentality. Nowadays, dudes don't fight. They just go straight for they try to squeeze.
Right.
But me, I was always the dude like, well,
You're willing to fight, but
I'm willing to fight. But like, if it goes there, I want to be able to have something too. And if that was the mentality for most people, then there obviously don't want to be as many shooting deaths or whatever. But there's nothing you can't take guns away from everybody and think that criminals aren't going to get a hold of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, you can strip guns from all law-abiding people, but what about the non-law-abiding people, the people who don't follow the law? They're not going to put down their guns just because the law tells them to. They're criminals for a reason. They don't follow the law. And if we have a society full of unarmed people, we already have a leg down in that competition, because now you've taken away our only defense. Here we go. Here it is.
Our closing.
You're always just saying good night.
Right when we're closing.
Here's Sierra again. She just got done eating dinner. She's about to go to bed.
Love you. Me too. Good night.
Sarah, you gonna buy a gun when you get older? Huh? Never mind.
Say good night to Uncle Trent.
Good
Good night. Be careful.
Okay.
All right. So overall, I don't believe a gun ban is the answer. I don't believe there is an answer. I just believe we can do the best we can do.
What okay, let's just end on this. What can we do to for this situation? Okay, you say a gun ban is not in order. So what do we do? What do the people do?
I mean, that's a lot. You know, you got to think about gun violence. Then you got to dissect that into mass shootings and then stick ups and robbing grocery stores or gas stations and just violence on the streets, violence, drive-bys, things like that. You gotta think the motives behind each one of them in order to actually try to even start in a direction to dealing with gun violence. You have to go through so many different types of level.
So what do we do?
I mean, like I said, I don't think there's an actual answer. I think you can only do the best you can do,
case by case.
Right. You know, and to that.
I think regardless of whether you use a pistol to protect yourself or you use a Bible, there has to be a level of spiritual fitness. There has to be a mental healthiness. There has to be a physical readiness when dealing with anything. And if we're talking about being defensive, protecting, saving, or just general everyday feeling safe.
Right.
A lot of all those things have to come into play, and unfortunately, if you're talking about spiritual, mental, and physical ability, you're only going to get one, maybe half of those things.
Right.
And there's 3 of them, so that means you're not going to be able to check someone on their spirituality. Physicality you can, because there's tests for that. Mentality, you're only going to get half the truth.
Yeah.
So, like you said, there's not a real answer, but what we can do is sit here and pretend that getting rid of guns is gonna help. It's gonna help people from getting killed.
Yeah, no. Getting rid of guns and telling people that they cannot own a gun is only gonna do. All you're doing is helping out people that do own guns that don't follow the law.
Yeah.
Because whether you like to admit it or not, there are people in this country that don't follow the law, and they prey on people that do follow the law, and especially when those laws are prohibiting them from protecting themselves.
How many people die in prison?
I don't know. A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
How many people die in prison from gunshots from each other?
None.
Possibly 1 or 2. Maybe.
One, yeah.
I mean, it's within the realm of possibilities.
Right.
Not likely, but people are making knives out of toothpicks, or not toothpicks, out of toothbrushes.
Toothbrushes, yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, anything. You can't. Okay, you took my gun. Great. Now I got a knife. Now I'll just get close. Like you can't.
You're not going to stop people from killing.
You're not going to stop people from killing and doing bad. All you can do is prepare yourself spiritually, train yourself mentally, and also physically be ready for it. And if you have a tool such as a force multiplier or a gun, be trained in it. Be efficient.
A gun. Be
responsible.
Not to sound cliche or cheeseball, but a gun is not a toy. If you own a gun, it is your responsibility to be trained enough to use it.
Stop taking pictures with your guns.
Dumbass.
You
know what?
I used to do that a lot.
I got a quick story. I'll make it fast.
Yeah, we got it.
When I first showed up in Hawaii to my next command, right? The first day I was told there was a negligent discharge on the ship.
Right.
A guy was in a space. He was on watch. Took out his 9mm. God, I'm probably getting in trouble for telling this story. Anyway, took out his 9mm, took a picture with it. It went off in the space, and it shot this speaker or something, this communication device we have. And then 2 days later, an M16 went off on the top deck, and we were on a barge where the ship was getting construction work, so we had to live off the ship on another ship where it's just beds and a couple offices. Right. He was on the top deck doing topside security. It was an M16, so you know how those work. They don't just shoot; you have to rack it.
Right.
And we're in condition 3.
Right.
Condition 3 is there's no round in the chamber with other things, but I'll just leave it at that. There's no round in the chamber. In order to shoot it, you have to rack it back and send a round into the chamber, into the barrel. Excuse me. So it goes off while he's on watch. It goes into the floor basically, and it goes down like two levels, into a bed. Now, the person who owned that bed wasn't in the bed at the time,
right?
But if he was, he'd have been dead.
He'd have been dead. And that
person would have been, his whole life would have been destroyed. Right. I say that because just because you have a gun does not make you powerful. Mm-hmm. Power, well, like I said earlier, with great power comes great responsibility. I know that sounds cheeseball and corny, but it's the truth. A weapon can change your entire life, can change the entire universe that you live in. If you don't take the time and the effort to be as skilled with it, or as knowledgeable about it, and as disciplined as possibly can with this, so you know the dangers and the what to do's and what not to do's, and the safety behind it, then you're pretty much putting yourself in a position where you're asking for trouble. And you should be. And if you do have an incident where you take somebody's life, you should be held to the 10th degree.
I'm more worried about people driving than people with guns, to be quite honest with you. Can we talk about that next time?
Driving? Talk about driving?
Talk about driving. Drivers.
I put my key in the ignition sometimes, and I just don't know.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I
just don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. I am Old Mixhead.
I'm your boy Cheap.
We had a good time tonight talking about gun control and how to keep things safe and what we feel about the current climate behind it, and even gave you a couple theories to take home with you. So hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe and follow us. Go ahead and put a comment down below if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. If you'd like to get in touch with us, go ahead and leave us a message down below. If you would go ahead, you can email us. You can go to Spreaker.com. You can give us comments. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can check us out on iTunes as well. And until the next time, we will talk to you later.